You ever have a good idea, one you wish you could act upon but just can't? Yeah, I get that a lot. Like Prison Thunderdome. But no, that's apparently unethical. Can't have any fun nowadays, can you? Well, us lowly plebeians aren't the only ones. Apparently game companies can bite off more than they can chew. Exhibit A? Legendary. A first-person shooter released back in the day by Gamecock. Seriously? And developed by Spark Unlimited, the fine developers behind Call of Duty Finest Hour and... oh god. Monolith come back. Okay, so they had one bad game, but the concept behind this one is so good they surely can't have fucked this up, right? Right? The game starts up with, wait, no, stop. We gotta watch a slideshow first. This doesn't show up if you press new game, by the way, because knowing what you're doing is for wimps, right? It details the history of this world's Pandora's Box, an extremely powerful object created and guarded by an Illuminati-esque group called the Council of 98. And by guarded, I mean they lose it and it ends up being found at the bottom of the ocean and shipped off to a museum in New York for study. Our character, Charles Deckard, is hired by rich art collector and totally not evil leader Ormond Le Fay, his group the Black Order, and his sidekick Vivian Kane to break into the museum and open the box. Because, you know, Le Fay could actually read a newspaper. Unlike the council, who have been looking for it for, what, hundreds of years now? It's right there on the front page. How do you fucking miss that? We join our game already in progress with Deckard already in the museum, skulking around, looking generally creepy. Apparently, Le Fay already had the key to this thing. Where'd you find a key to an ancient, possibly evil artifact? eBay? What kind of search terms you gotta pump in to find that? Hey, don't touch it, it could be dangerous. Oh no, who saw that coming? Getting his hand lanced leads us to the game's main mechanic. I mean, other than gunfire. Using the signet burnt into Deckard's left hand to drain animus energy from enemies or clouds of it around the world. Using said energy, you can heal yourself, blast enemies, and... that's actually it. Wow, that's, kinda lame. Not even bullet time? Almost every game with Mystic Powers has that. But no, we get a weak blast that couldn't ruffle a newspaper. Thanks, lads. Really put your heart and soul into this, didn't you? This seems bad. Maybe we should leave? Oh, my ears! God, why is that louder than an explosion? We're running through a collapsing museum and you're the one destroying my eardrums. After going deaf and witnessing death, we make it outside just in time to witness the game's trailer moment and listen to the game's one song.
Get away from the museum! Hurry!
What's that? You don't like it? Too bad. It's all you're going to be hearing from here till the end credits. Unsurprisingly, I'll be using other music for the background of this video. Huh. A lot more griffins in New York today. So yeah, instead of unleashing evil on the world, Pandora's Box unleashed a horde of mythical creatures, ready to turn New York into a pizza-smelling crater. And we're stuck in the middle of it. Thankfully, it doesn't take us long to find our first weapon, the fire axe. Now, in most first-person shooters, the melee weapon is pretty useless. Aside from Half-Life, seeing as Gordon swings that thing at 1,000 miles per second. But here, it's actually pretty good. It's let down by its slow swing speed, unless you're bashing it on a wall, but does a surprising amount of damage to everything except a griffin. This does lead you to find out that everyone in this world is made of stone, but I'm going to deal with one horror at a time, thank you. You're going to want to stick with the axe for at least the first level, as the pistol you get slightly later wouldn't give an enemy a mild headache, let alone keep you alive, especially when, say, a fire drake attacks. It's that song again. Sounds like little Timmy tuning up his garage band. Fire drakes really aren't that hard to deal with on their own. They spew fire at you and do sonic spins. Just crank them around the head with the axe and don't question how an art thief is surviving better than the trained cops currently being munched on. We continue our tour of New York, only to be interrupted by the worst decision the devs ever made. Human enemies? Why? You had so much more you could have pulled through myths and legends, and instead you went with humans. No dragons, no centaurs or satyrs. Oh, but Bob down the street makes it in fine. They don't even drop animus energy, so if you lose health, you're stuck with it until you reach a batch of drakes or werewolves. Werewolves are kinda like xenomorphs in this game, clambering all over the place, slashing at you. And if you've played Colonial Marines, you'll know that isn't a compliment. The AI in this game has the brain power of a stunted budgie. If the monsters aren't hitting you in the face, they're probably not gonna hit you at all. And the human AI?
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
Just use the meh machine gun to drop them, then hack their heads off with a fire axe. Cause werewolves work like immortals from Highlander now, apparently. Oh, and don't shoot the enemy if they're running a scripted animation. It'll do nothing. What an amazing design choice. One crane ride later, and our 1000th subway station today, we run into Vivian, hiding in a control room. She tries to hack into LaFay's systems, but the older code doesn't check out anymore.
Vivian, I thought those access codes looked familiar, and you have Deckard at your side. It seems you two have a greater aptitude for survival than I anticipated.
LaFay, you bastard! You set us up to open the box. Why?
My dear, if I didn't let you in on the details of my operation when I hired Mr. Deckard, what makes you think I'm going to do so now? Frankly, you were always too ambitious to be trusted.
Why kill us then?
Deckard I want dead for very specific reasons, and while you don't know my...
Yeah, I don't really care. I'm just an art thief, apparently. So, I'ma just go home?
Mr. Deckard, I'm sure you're professional enough to understand. It's just business.
I'll take that as a no. We do get some help from the council. Not that I needed any, I could have fallen asleep in here and they'd probably have found a way to kill themselves somehow. But the council do take Deckard and Vivian hostage, seeing as, you know, Vivian did work for Evil Incorporated. And they have a word with a guy called Lexington, whose, good God, his eyes are so crossed I think he can see through time. Their badly painted over concept art equivalents strike a deal with the council for safe haven, but in return they have to help hunt for Pandora's box. So basically you mean the untrained art thief is being sent out to fight a highly trained PMC in the cast of Jason and the Argonauts just because he has a magic hand? Yeah, I see this ending well. At least Gordon Freeman has a super suit. Deckard's running around with one sleeve and someone whose face is permanently stuck in the smug fart position. Deckard? You didn't put anything in your ear. What the hell is he hearing?
Rip and tear until it is done.
So there's supposed to be this big set piece where this big metal golem walks through some buildings, but I got bored and did I invent some speed tech? Am I a speedrunner now? Down here in the sewers, we encounter one of the game's most interesting enemies. No, not the tentacles. It's the amazingly tiny, horrifyingly ugly fairies called Nari. Their main thing is they possess objects and throw them at you, or some hapless goon destined to die because he decided to hitch a ride with Deckard. Seriously, this man's collateral body count is at Murder, She Wrote levels of suspicious. If you're even in a mile radius of Deckard, you'll die in some new and horrific way. Anyway, reading about the Nari in the game's PDA, they apparently originate from Eastern European folklore, but a quick Google search only revealed some weird fairy websites, the game's own dedicated Wikia, seriously, that exists, and the National Association of the Remodeling Industry. Yeah, I don't think these things are going to renovate my house. They might renovate my insides, does that count? They're also invulnerable until they attack, so you gotta be quick on the draw to kill them. This can make them kind of annoying in one of the game's many scripted events, but as regular enemies, at least they're interesting. Oh, so that's what that looks like. It's nice to look at when I'm not clipping through reality itself. But how the hell are we going to take this thing down? I don't think Deckard can pull a Raiden. Thankfully, the council brought some EMPs to knock it down, but they forgot the batteries. So it's up to our magic hand to charge them. You lot really are useless without me, aren't you? This ranges from simple to, how the hell did those pieces get over there, to,
Get the fuck down!
not sure that's how EMP works. Well, either way, it's dead. We fight our way through more disgusting, boring sewers until we find Pandora's box. The box makes the werewolves nearby more powerful, and by more powerful I mean you have to blast them, then unload. They could have done so much more with this. In fact, that right there describes this game pretty well. Great concept, but a complete lack of any competence. Cool mythological enemies, sandwiched between meh gunplay, human enemies, a soundtrack consisting of like 3 chords and a broken drum machine, and a story that's... well, I'll save that for the end. Can't give the whole thing away now, can I? Oh, we're going to England. Time to... Oh, no, we're still alive. So is Vivian and Lex, but he's out cold.
Lexington's unconscious, and the rest of the crew is dead. I'm going to radio the council for help, but you must find LaFay's research. Every second counts. Head to the cathedral. The lab is hidden beneath the main hall. And Deckard, try not to get yourself killed. I'm running low on friends these days.
Wait, we're friends? Because I keep forgetting what your name is. Also, when you talk, it looks like you're wearing other people's skin. So we need to trek on foot to a nearby cathedral, because LaFay stuck a lab under there for some reason. And to get there, we need to get through some kind of nice looking areas. Oh, and kill some nightmare spiders.
Poking this thing.
Why? More sewers. With the amount of sewers we've had to traipse our way through, I'm surprised Deckard doesn't smell like a flooded cemetery by now. This is where the game introduces us to alpha werewolves, but I'm not sure why they even bothered. They're just hairier versions of the regular werewolves. They just have a bit more health. Oh, and their predecessor's lethal firearms allergy. Back on the streets, we need to stop some Black Order troops from nicking some werewolves. And by stop, I mean viciously murder. Eventually, we reach a little square, where we have to hold out with a group of council soldiers against a horde of werewolves. The area itself does look quite nice, but the game doesn't do much to make this intense. Well, unless you count band practice as intense, and if you had any hope of the friendly AI being useful at this point, then may I point you in the direction of their corpses. After the wolves are dead, Deckard is, of course, the only one left, standing proud atop the bodies of enemies and friends alike as the helicopter flies straight into death. Again, if you are anywhere near Deckard, you will die. This man seems to radiate a field of death.
Deckard, wake up. Morning, sunshine. Sleep well?
Hey, I'm doing most of the work here. I deserve some fucking rest. Yeah, see? That wouldn't have happened if I'd had a lie-in. We push towards the cathedral, knocking out the Black Order's plasma gates, and sending their soldiers to the other world before we run into a new enemy. God, it must be Christmas, because I've killed enough werewolves at this point to start coughing up hairballs. Looks imposing, doesn't he? Well, guess what? He's not. He just stomps around trying to charge you, throwing shit and doing less damage than a gunshot. Now you're supposed to shoot him in the back, but I found it easy just to hit reverse gear and fill him with buckshot, because the shotgun is still the best weapon thus far. The assault rifle sounds and feels like a BB gun, is about as effective, and seeing as we can only carry 2 weapons, you're better off carrying it as a backup until something better comes along. Oh, the Minotaur's dead, by the way. Man, everything in this game is such a letdown. Another brisk bout of murder walking later, and we make it to the cathedral, which is, of course, filled with werewolves, who are... well, shit. Do I actually have to try now? This is gonna get interesting. Nope. He just has a ton of health, and you're stuck with ballistic weapons. Even though later on you fight them with a rocket launcher. So this is just the game giving you one big hearty fuck you for wanting something new. Oh, and good luck healing while fighting this thing. It took a long while already. Try doing that with a gigantic cockatoo biting your nether regions. Your best bet is throwing grenades at it, but the Griffin closes the distance fast, and grenades seem purpose-built to hurt you more than anyone else. And if you die, you will. You have to sit through the cutscene again. Why is the checkpoint not after the cutscene? Because this game was made by people who didn't give one single shit. We're gonna be here a while. Well, I will. For you it'll be done, sir. Why did they build this bridge across the cathedral? Wouldn't it be safer to just go around? Whatever. Kill more soldiers, realise the flamethrower has all the effectiveness of a hot water bottle being thrown by a toddler, and finally make it to LaFay's lab. Deckard nabs a hard drive and is whisked to London, where the council has its HQ under the House of Parliament. Hey, you guys realise how dumb that is, right? Some guy tried to blow it up back in 1605. All it takes is one overly ambitious guy with a history book and your little Illuminati gets a fuck-ton brighter. We're allowed to wander around HQ for a bit, which amounts to a room with some guns, and two without. Oh god, the dummies are sentient. I'm a fucking monster. But your main purpose is to head to the lab, so the last nugget of plot can be dumped on you.
Deckard, we broke the encryption. Things are worse than we thought.
LaFay's constructed a machine in New York that will take control of all creatures across the globe, using Pandora's box as a focusing device.
In order for it to work, the creatures had to be released from the box first.
That's why LaFay hired you. He assumed whoever opened the box would be killed in the process.
Thanks to you and Vivian, we intercepted the artifact before LaFay could recover it and brought it safely here.
There's something else. According to LaFay's research, activating Pandora's box in his machine will send a massive jolt of energy from the artifact to the signet on your arm. If LaFay's machine finishes its cycle, Deckard, you'll be killed.
Since we've got Pandora's box under lock and key, you should be safe until we take out LaFay's machine in New York. Then we'll figure out a way to get that signet off your arm. What the hell? All our systems are losing power.
It's a Trojan horse from LaFay's hard drive. It invades computer networks.
Wait. So your secret council can't stop a Trojan. Are you saying I could cripple the Illuminati by going to a dodgy porn site? Wow, you guys suck. We take a long werewolf-filled elevator ride with the saddest man on Earth until we get to the roof of Parliament and get the best weapon in the game. The heavy machine gun actually sounds and feels good and can actually kill something sometime in my lifespan. So the roof is full of soldiers and the sky is full of griffins. Yeah, that looks cool, but isn't fun to fight through. Not until we get the rocket launcher anyway, and then they just pop out of existence. Not that the rocket launcher is good, it slows you down to a crawl while you're carrying it, and you never get to use it again after this level. But at least I don't have to use all my ammo to drop one enemy.
Deckard, something big's coming out of the river. It's headed right for Parliament. Good God. Fall back. Regroup and concentrate fire on that thing. Trigger easy.
Oh, I'm having none of that shit. You idiots can deal with that. I got a helicopter to catch. Or fight our way through Parliament, that works too. Oh, and if you thought the Kraken was going to be interesting, I've got some bad news for you. You just shoot its eye tentacles and bat its tonsils with rockets till it fucks off. But while we were doing all the work, again, the Order nicks the box and the big red machine, whisking them off to New York for the final confrontation. Yeah, I'm sure this will be thrilling. Hey, the helicopter didn't crash this time. The Griffins must be on break. This level actually looks kind of interesting, as New York is now almost completely unrecognisable, with all its buildings destroyed and the skies filled with Griffins. But this just translates into we have platforming in a game where you jump like you're slightly startled, and more werewolves and humans to fight. Seriously? Still no dragon? No skeletons? Vampires? Did you only read the first page of your mythology book? Oh, but thank God we still have subways. So when did this get built? How could you not tell this is evil? At least the lobby looks nice, until the Minotaurs ruin it. Not really much to talk about here. Imagine the rest of the game, but now you're going up a skyscraper. But hey, Vivian's here. Time to take the lift and finally end this. Excuse me, what? Oh no. So this game's broken. Surprise! If you're playing the PC version and haven't locked your FPS to 30, this will happen. Every time you take this one lift, just this one, you take two just to get here, but no, this one's special. How do you even miss this? It makes the game literally unbeatable unless you know how to lock the frame rate, which not everyone is gonna know how to do that. How did this get through testing exactly? Oh yeah, because they tested the console versions, where the frame rate's already 30. Genius! The best part of this, if TV Tropes is to be believed, gonna want a large pinch of salt for that one. When Gamecock was told about this, their response was, buy another computer because we aren't fixing this. The irony here is, if you have a worse computer, you might never see this. Anyway, after that, we make it to the roof where the machine is already powering up. Yeah, stop doing that. I'd rather look at this cane. Oh, this one. He's through power. Our exciting final boss is pressing some buttons on some power conduits to make them explode. Because it's not like you had any more monsters to use. Oh no, blowing up some scrap metal is way better. Press those buttons and feed the machine some life juice until... Oh, Jesus, he got fucking baned. Okay, guess we're dead then. We done here? Oh, god damn it, why won't you let me die?
Deckard, my God. How did you survive that blast? There's no sign of Vivian. She must have been vaporized. Pandora's box. It shattered into a million pieces. There's no way we can use it to banish the creatures now. Luckily, we still got you. That signet on your arm. It's our last hope. Remember those scans we took at Council headquarters? It turns out your signet contains encoded instructions on how to build a new box. We just need to figure out how to read those instructions. I'm sorry it came to this, but we can't afford to ask nicely. Just remember, this is for the good of humanity.
You know, I think Deckard would have said yes to saving the world. You didn't need the drugs. But hey, at least Kane's dead. Oh, god damn it. The ending tries to hint at a sequel with Deckard escaping and seemingly taming a griffin, which would have been a cool mechanic for this game, but I guess we can wait for the sequel. Ha! Nope. This game came out like 12 years ago. This game's deader than Disco. Cut to credits. Hey, no wonder the music sucked. They only had 2 instruments. Do I even need to sew up my thoughts on this? It's bad, in that not even fun way. It's a great concept, made by people who just had no idea how to pull it off, so they just slapped together the most bare-bones shooter they could. The gunplay is blander than filtered water, the music is like a stuck record, and the few mythological enemies that are used are either dumber than Reddit or pushed out of the limelight by human enemies. This game gave me Colonial Marines flashbacks. But as bad as that game was, at least it wasn't boring. I really didn't go into this wanting to hate it, but when half your levels are set in sewers and subways, it's kinda hard not to. Well, that and phasing through fucking reality. Don't bother with this game. It's the most boring yet broken experience I've had with a shooter. I'd rather take a nap. And with AI this dumb, I'm not sure they want to be here either. Go play, I don't know, Doom instead. Any of them. Even the mobile ones. I'm sure they can't be this bad.